growing up, my mom told me, be nice to people. Don't use insults. Don't call people names. It's not good. It makes you small and it just hardens them against you. So I try not to do that. It's one of the rules on this show. Try not to be mean to people, especially don't use no name calling. Don't use insults because it's just not useful. But this guy's a moron here, and we got to talk about this guy because this guy, Senator David Carroll, passed a new law or wants to pass a new law that says it would be a crime to insult a police officer. So he is not immune from the insults because of his loserish bill. Terrible bill, dumb bill, one of the dumbest bills I've ever seen. And we're going to poke some fun at it. So this is something that was posted over on cbsnews.com. A bill moving through Kentucky's Senate would make it a crime to insult or taunt a police officer. And because it's just for police and it doesn't involve senators from Kentucky, we can call him names only on this one limited little thing because he's trying to put people in jail for calling names, and we don't want that. So here is the rest of this article. Supporters say the bill targets those who unlawfully, quote, cross the line, but opponents call it a blatant attempt to crush protests and a violation of First Amendment rights, which they are exactly right. It is. Senate Bill 211 mandates up to 3 months imprisonment for a person who, quote, accosts, insults, taunts, challenges a law enforcement officer with offensive or derisive words, or, quote, makes gestures or other physical contact that would have a direct tendency to provoke a violent response from the perspective of a reasonable and prudent person. It's just a terrible bill, just in general. Look how that's written. What a joke. A person convicted of this misdemeanor charge could also face a $250 fine and be disqualified from public assistance benefits for 3 months. And I want to show you this. This guy is not a good hombre. And this is another article, so the name was a little bit wrong on a couple of these articles, so I wanted to clarify this. The guy's name is David Carroll. He's a Republican from Benton. He's a retired police officer. He's the lead sponsor of the Senate Bill 211. He told the committee that his legislation was a response to riots seen throughout the country. He says, this is not about lawful protest in any way, shape, or form or fashion. This country was built on lawful protests. It's something that we must maintain our citizens' right to do so. What this deals with are those who cross the line and commit criminal acts. The bill passed the committee by 7-3 vote, faced criticism from Democrats, and the ACLU of Kentucky said this is a dangerous government overreach, limiting protected free speech and protest. And they're absolutely right. The bill has a provision pushing back on defund the police. 7-3 vote, as we said. CBS News requested a comment from Senator David Carroll, loser, a Republican and retired police officer who is the bill's lead sponsor. Following publication of the story, he wrote in an email saying, quote, after looking at your headline, I don't think I have anything to say to you. I miss the time when we actually had unbiased journalists. Double exclamation point. All right. CBS News also reached out to the staff of Kentucky Andy Beshear, a Democrat. Carroll told the Louisville Journal that the bill is a response to riots. Louisville was the epicenter of the racial justice protest due to the death of Breonna Taylor, which we covered here at length. The country was built on lawful protest, he said. And the ACLU is also not happy about this. They call it an extreme bill to stifle dissent. It's so extreme it would make it a crime to say insulting or offensive things to law enforcement. ACLU Kentucky legal director Corey Shapiro told the Courier-Journal that lawmakers trying to criminalize speech is itself offensive. And I agree. Criminalization of speech is not a good thing. It's not what we want in this country. And the Senate committee in Kentucky is advancing the bill to make it a crime to insult police officers. Do the police really want this? Do they want, are the police clamoring for this? I thought that they were a little, tougher than an insult. I think they are. Did he talk to them? I can't imagine they want this bill either. Here's what it looks like. So it's going to amend KRS 525060 to read as follows. A person is guilty of disorderly conduct in the second degree when they're in a public place with the intent to cause inconvenience, annoyance, alarm, or wantonly create a risk thereof. He does what? Accosts, insults, taunts, challenges a law enforcement officer with offensive or derisive words, or by gestures or other physical contact that would have a direct tendency to provoke a violent response from the perspective of a reasonable and prudent person. How would you ever even judge that? So if you're just on the other side of a street and you call an officer a name, is it from the perspective of a reasonable and prudent police officer or a reasonable and prudent person? Because those are a little bit different, right? Police officer has a lot more training than the regular person. We expect police to respond differently than a regular person. But they're saying here that it's from the perspective of a reasonable and prudent person. So shouldn't the standard be higher? So if you call a cop a name, you would expect a cop not to punch you in the face. If you call a guy at a bar a name, if you get punched in the face, you might expect that a little bit. It's different standards. Here they're saying it's a reasonable and prudent person, not a reasonable and prudent police officer. So it's kind of lowering the standards. Doesn't seem like a very nicely written law here. Okay. If the offense is committed during the course of a riot, the minimum term of imprisonment shall be 3 months. 3 months jail. The person shall not be released on probation, parole, conditional discharge, or any other form of release prior to 45 days. 45 days in jail for insulting a cop, according to this guy. A fine of $250 shall be assessed, and any person convicted on this subsection shall be disqualified from receiving public assistance benefits by means of a direct cash payment or EBT for 3 months. You lose your EBT card for 3 months. This guy is something else. And yeah, I mean, he hasn't passed a bill yet saying that you can't insult Kentucky senators, but this guy's a moron. He probably should pass a bill, because this is one of the worst things I've seen come out of anybody who claims to be a government servant. What a joke. Jeremy Matrita says, more people voted in the 2020 election than any other election in history. No one is being restricted from voting. The real reform needs to be the ability to validate the registered voters. Yeah, and I would agree with that, Jeremy. I think that's a good point. However, I'm not sure that either side wants anything to do with that. I just don't think that they care much about that. Right now, it's all about raising money so that everybody can grift off of the fundraising, put a little bit of that towards get out the votes. I think it's all just about money right now. Nobody really wants to solve the problem. Ham-handed says, did not I see in the initial reading of the bill article that this is only in effect during riots? You did not read that verbally, but I did. I still agree it is a bad idea. So did I read this here? Yeah, so it is with or the risk there. This is the bill here. A person is guilty of disorderly conduct in the second degree, section 1, in a public place with the intent to cause public inconvenience, annoy, violent response, taunts with whether physical would have a direct. Okay, so here the penalty is if the offense is committed during the course of a riot. So I think that this is just in general, to answer your question, ham-handed. I think, and this is what I'm reading here from the bill, KRS 525060 is amended to read as follows: guilty of disorderly conduct, second degree. So this is just generally in a public place. If you're causing inconvenience, annoyance, all right, so that counts. If you do this, accost, insult, taunt, challenge, offensive, provoke a violent response. So all of this is enough to charge somebody with a crime. Under subsection 2, if you do all of this, then you are charged with disorderly conduct. It's a class B misdemeanor. However, if you do this and it's committed during the course of a riot, then that's when the minimum sentence comes in, 3 months jail, 45 days minimum, and you lose your benefits. But if, let's say you do it and it's not during the course of a riot, however that is defined, then it's still going to be a class B misdemeanor. At least that's my reading of the statute. I agree, though, and it is not a good idea either way, whether it's during a riot, whether it's not, right? If you want to call somebody a name, this is America. It's a rude thing to do. It's insulting, but it shouldn't be something that warrants 45 days at minimum in jail until you get released. Chairman of the board says, Rob, the next law will be that so you can't insult a politician, and they'll make it retroactive so they can come and get you. Come and get me, boys. Let's go. We'll take this up to the Supreme Court. That's fine. Chairman of the board, that's fine. These laws are just political posturing. There's no way that any of this stuff is upheld in a court of law. Ma Fox says, I'd like to remind folks that this would be illegal only for officers. You can insult your neighbor all you want, but apparently these police can't take insults like us civilians. They're very delicate. Very delicate. You know, you ask an officer, what's the basis for this traffic stop? Excuse me, sir. What's the basis for this traffic stop? That is fighting words for them. They don't like to question. You don't want to question their authority. Doesn't work out well for you, as we've covered ad nauseum on this channel. Last question of the day. We got Jeremy Matrita in the House, says, equal justice under the law and want a law making it illegal for politicians to offend their constituents with poorly written bills. There you go, Jeremy. That's a good way to end it. And that is exactly right? You know, this guy, his bill is offensive to me. I find it to be insulting because I believe in the United States Constitution. I believe in the First Amendment, free speech, free expression, free association. And his bill is insulting to that ideal of America. Maybe we should pass our own law. And maybe we should say that politicians who pass stupid bills should be incarcerated for 600 years. How about that? Sounds good to me. Last one of the day says, Liberty or Death says, you are correct. Admitting DC as a state would require an amendment to the Constitution. It is specifically carved out, so no state has the seat of the federal government. Okay, yeah, interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think Arizona, well, when did we became a state like in 1912, I think, if I can recall that correctly. And so we were what, 48? Then I think Alaska came in, then Hawaii came in, or was it vice versa? It's been a while, so I'm a little bit rusty on my statehood law. But thank you for Liberty or Death for giving us some clarity. And that's it for the program, my friends. I want to thank everybody who is supporting us over on locals.com/watching the watchers. A lot of awesome people chimed in today. We got chairman of the board who was in the house. Always see Jen McClellan. We got Ma Fox. Always want to thank Ma. Always want to thank Miss Faith Joy. We've got Chris Wiseman who chimes in. Who else is on here? We've got Tawny. We've got Cats59. We have Ainsley, One Drop in the house. Danny Girl. Who else? We've got Jorgen Johnson. We have Carolina Flyin showing us some love over there. Joe Snow in the house. See the Veil. We got KDs. We've got a couple new people signed up over the weekend who joining us over there. Very excited. Thank you for coming on board. We got Norovira. Saw them in the house today. We got Sheila Mo 1. We have Tremendous. And we have Loves to Quilt, who are both in the house, along with Anki Woe. We've got TOS Forever. Carl's joined up, Kimber 2020, and many others. And we're having a great time over on Locals. I will tell you this. I had a call today with one of the co-founders over there. They said, yeah, your community over there is bustling. And so they just increased our capabilities, I think, to the maximum now. So we are going to start posting the clips onto the Locals platform because they want you to start creating your content or start housing your content over there because they're going to be doing some cool stuff with it. I mean, other apps and porting this stuff over to TVs and live streaming and all sorts of cool stuff. So I was already excited about Locals. I'm even more excited about it now. I think that they have the right mindset. We talked a lot about some of the underlying philosophical underpinnings of why I moved some stuff over to Locals, and I think we're just in total alignment. So I'm excited about it. And so I would encourage you to go over there. It's locals.com/watching the watchers. We're posting good stuff. We got our book over there, my book, Beginning to Winning. It's available as a free PDF download over there. All the slides, Miss Faith is posting those up over there. Copy of the Existence Systems. This is a personal productivity template that you can download and use at your leisure. Available over on locals.com/watching the watchers. Share links throughout the day. I posted a comment about Jordan Peterson giving me multiple existential crises throughout the reading of his book. And the real good reason is to join up to meet other great people, amazing people over there. And we're having some fun talking about these issues in an area that I think is a little bit more supportive of free speech. So join us over there at locals.com/watching the watchers. Lastly, finally, but not leastly, I am a criminal defense attorney here at the R&R Law Group. We do criminal defense law. We help good people who have been charged with crimes find safety, clarity, and hope in their cases and in their futures. So if you or anybody you know or love knows anybody who has been charged with a crime in Arizona, we can help. If you send them our way, we would be honored and humbled for an opportunity to help them. We can help people with all sorts of criminal charges, anything ranging from minor misdemeanors, traffic violations, things like disorderly conduct, some of the offenses we talked today. If we had a statute here that made it illegal to insult police officers, we would be representing the hell out of people on that one, but we don't, so we won't. But we have other things that we can represent them on, things like felonies, domestic violence, drugs, DUIs, anybody who wants to restore their rights, clear up an old warrant, get a mugshot off the internet, get your ability to possess a firearm back, your ability to vote again. All of those things we can help people with. We're very good at what we do. Have a nice size team here in Scottsdale. We would love the opportunity to help. And that is it from me, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. We are going to hop onto Clubhouse right now. So if you're on Clubhouse, I'm going to be with you in about 10 seconds. If you're not on Clubhouse, the link is in the description below. Join us up over there. That's it for me. We're going to be back here, same place, same time tomorrow. So the show starts at 5 p.m. Arizona time, which is Mountain. 4 p.m. on the West Coast, which is in California. We have 6 p.m. Central in Texas, 7 p.m. on the East Coast for Florida, man. Everybody have a very wonderful evening. Sleep well. I'll see you right back here tomorrow. Bye-bye.